of 68 After Dark. Welcome in, Field of 68 After Dark on a Monday, February 9th edition of the show. I believe Big Monday is what they call this Monday. And we're all here. Randolph, Childress, Mike LaTulip, John Martin. No flu-like symptoms, huh, fellas? We're battling through today.
We're good, man. I don't like your tone right now, though. You sound like you're a little lethargic, bro. I don't like, usually a little bit more, a little pep in your step right now. You sound like you got the bug or something, man. You got to break it. If you got Mike and I here sitting up here all night with you, man, you got to do better than that.
Maybe DP is kind of rubbing off on me. We'll get into that. Kansas, as we speak, is in the midst of potentially pulling this off. Obviously, Arizona is not going to go down easily. So as soon as that game goes final, we'll obviously get into all of that. Darren Peterson, a late scratch due to flu-like symptoms. So big show tonight. Again, we're here on YouTube. We're on SiriusXM. But let's start with a game that is final, RC, and that's in your neck of the woods there in the ACC. Louisville just absolutely takes it to NC State. Mikael Brown has an ACC freshman record, 45 points, 10 threes. I mean, it was just everything was going in for Louisville tonight, and NC State never had a shot. I know it can be sometimes difficult to take something away from a performance like that when it's on all cylinders, but I felt like that was a big moment tonight for Louisville, RC.
I think it's a bigger night for Mikael Brown. I think he needed the performance because of where his reputation was as far as coming in. And he still obviously is a lottery pick, but hadn't had that game. He played well in Kentucky, but all the other freshmen since then had come back and had put up 40-point games. And then, for him missing 8 games, coming back, he's been through a lot in that sense. So just for him to come out and kind of validate that he is what, everyone believes he is to be. So good game. It's only one game, but I want to see him consistently be a little, just play more consistent. Obviously not at 45 points per game, but he was on one tonight. It was fun to watch. I'm happy for him. He deserves that.
Yeah, Mike, this Louisville team is just, so different with Mikael Brown on versus off, and he's not going to go for 45 every game, but it just feels like when he's on that court, his ability, his skill set, it just really opens things up for Pat Kelsey and that team.
Well, and to RC's point, it's the way he did it tonight. Yeah. I think there's an art to settling yourself into a game. And I think this game was a stark contrast from the Duke game, where it felt like he was really pressing and he was really forcing the issue early. And I think, everything tonight felt like it was in rhythm. I mean, he hit his first three. It's not like he knocked down a three on the first possession of the game. I mean, he hit his first three was like 7 minutes into the game. And he just kind of flattened out in the corner. NC State busted a switch. He made himself available off the ball. So just finding a rhythm tonight, it felt really within the flow of the offense, and that should be comforting for him moving forward. Dude, you don't need to put the weight of the world on your shoulders in this game. Like, leverage the gravity your teammates have, that those guys create, Conwell, McNeely, and channel your focus when you're off ball to making yourself available and relocating and flowing with the ball. That's what he did tonight. And I think that's what's beautiful about this game is you can have a 45-point game. And I didn't think until he hit like 37 that he was forcing anything. That's so, and then he became a screener too. Like, he screens for Khalifa in the open floor and Khalifa goes in for a layup. He screens for Conwell. They bust a switch. Conwell hits a three. Like, he was just playing within the game and leveraging his teammates. And that's beautiful basketball. And that's what I think that's what we saw tonight from Louisville. We'll get to the NC State side of this, but clicking on all cylinders for Louisville.
Yeah. So RC, just for this team and the trajectory, like, what do you think of Louisville as this year? I mean, again, obviously they're not going to score 118 every night, but that prowess is there between Brown and Conwell. And obviously we know that duo went off tonight. Like, do you see him as a Elite Eight team? Is the ceiling higher for them? Like, what do you just see for this Louisville team?
I think going in, they could be one of the scariest teams to play only because we know what they're capable of. I think their ability to knock down shots collectively, they got some elite shooting. The scary thing, the only concern you got to have about Louisville is the balance of this in scoring on their front line, and what does that look like when they're forced to play big? I think it changes things for them. You know, how do they make that adjustment? Today was horse. I mean, today, you know, that wasn't even, you know, I wouldn't even say horse. I mean, that was just a pickup game. You know, we hadn't gotten to state yet, but I can't even state was so bad. I can't even overreact and give Louisville that much credit. That's how bad state was. But like I said, I'm more so happy with Michael Brown's performance. Happy for him. You know, hoping he can be a little bit more consistent, you know, for the stretch run here. But for Louisville, I like to see a little bit more out of their 4 and their 5 on a consistent basis. It'll be by committee. And I want to see them, will they make the adjustment quicker when they're not making threes? Meaning get in the paint instead of, will they still shoot 30 threes and be 4 of 30? You know what I mean? That's the only adjustments I want to see Louisville make. Other than that, they could make a run, but you know, they're just too hot and cold when it comes to how well they shoot it.
Mike, I want to get you on Louisville as well.
Yeah, I think the variance shooting the basketball always scares you in a single elimination tournament. I mean, that's why, to RC's point, getting that balance in the front court, like Roots over the last few games, the 3 previous to this one in double figures, you know, their bench kind of came alive over the 3 games previous to this. Like that's what has to propel them into March. So you don't want this to turn into like a Carson Edwards thing for Michael Brown, where you feel like he's got to put up 30 or have some sort of otherworldly performance for them to advance. And obviously you have Ryan Conwell too, who, I mean, we barely mentioned him. He had 30 plus tonight as well, but finding that balance, getting a little bit more from your bench. And that doesn't have to be scoring production. It's these guys coming in and pounding the glass, getting on the glass, you know, same thing with Frew, make yourself available as a roller. I think they're a team, and I've said this all year, but when you look at teams and how far they can go in March, some are going to be matchup dependent. It's just kind of the way it is. Some teams like an Arizona, like a Michigan, like a Duke in some cases, it's like if they play their game, they can probably advance. Louisville will probably be more matchup dependent, and I think that's fine because you got a guy in Michael Brown tonight where if he, I don't want to say plays like that, but if he plays within himself and plays that confidently and within the flow of the offense, like that's a March game changer for sure.
RC, I know. We got it. Go ahead.
Good. I will add this about Louisville. Of all the big teams that it seems like that we're talking about, they are a scary ass matchup for any of those big teams because of how well they are capable of shooting the basket. Like that's different. Like this team has knocked down, 15, 16, 17, 18 threes in games that, if you come across that one of those bigger lineups, this is just a team that scares the hell out of you. When it comes to going to the Elite Eight because of how well they could shoot the ball. So they are the one team I'd say some of these bigger teams you just don't want to play.
RC, I want to get your thoughts on Brown and his pro prospects because, when we talk about this stacked draft class on paper, at least, at one time, maybe he was one of the first 5 names that you rattled off. Now it seems like maybe because his availability's kind of been up in the air, he's not necessarily in that top 5. I'm just curious, do you think by the time it's all said and done, he plays his way back into the top 5 of this draft?
You know what? I don't know if for some people's eyes that he was in the top 5 in that aspect. I thought the 4 was really strong. And then after that, you didn't know. It was Kingston Flemings. It was him, whether it's Darius A-Cup. It's going to be between those guys. Who do you like? What do you like? But the one thing about Michael Brown is his size, his natural size. I haven't seen Kingston Flemings live to see. Like, I'm curious of what his measurables are. I love what I see out of him. A-Cuff has been as good as anybody. So you're talking about 3 guys all playing the same position. It's you're not going to make that pick till you get these guys in workouts. And, I think Michael has, been injured quite a bit. You can say the same thing about Peterson. I know we'll talk about him when that ends. But when he's healthy, you see he's a legit 6'5" point guard, can pass it, get to his spots, can really shoot it. Like he's an impressive kid. He'll be a top 10 pick, whether he goes 6th, 7th, 8th. Like I said, it's tomato when it comes to those guys.
Mm-hmm. All right, the NC State's piece of this. I mean, 77 and you give up 118. I mean, you both couldn't wait to talk about NC State tonight. You didn't give a damn about Louisville. You want to talk about NC State? I mean, how bad was this tonight from Will Wade's team? I mean, again, they were 7-point dogs, so it was kind of priced in a little bit that this would be a tough night for them. But obviously, not this tough, Mike.
Louisville just scored their most points in conference play all time. It was bad. Like, it was really bad. And I think you go back to Maui. I came on an after dark after they played Boise, maybe in Maui. And I said then, I said, if this NC State team wants to do anything of consequence in March outside of make an NCAA tournament, I'm talking win in the NCAA tournament, win a game, 2 games, they got to be a top 30 defense. And they've been trending that way over the last few games. I think they went down for sure tonight. They were 36 prior to this game. And that's just the story for them. And even, just some of the lack of communication, guys not on the same page, and then just the overall mindset of they did it against SMU where they got down early, and then you just kind of think because of your ability to shoot the ball as a group that you're never out of a game, which is true. But there's going to be teams you run into that run you out of the gym when you give them that type of footing. So I thought Louisville actually did a really good job for how good Copeland has been the last. I mean, he's 13 assists a game in his last 3, 10 assists a game in his last 5. I mean, really setting the table for these guys. I mean, you watch them, the way they hit threes. Like, Copeland is a big part of that. Because he's 6'7", he can see over the top. He's got great positional size. And then, if you give him a clean pocket, he can deliver on time, on target. And you saw Louisville tonight. It was just, okay, if we're going to switch, we're going to switch and get a hand in the passing lane so he can't throw the pick and pop, or he can't throw back to the guy that set the screen. Or if if we set a high ball screen and they roll to the basket, Fru's running back to his guy with high hands. Like, no pocket was clean for Copeland tonight. And so all the passes were not on time. They weren't on target. And I thought that just completely threw NC State off kilter offensively. And then that just became a chain reaction for them defensively. So it was both sides of the ball tonight for NC State. That was just, 90 points. You have 90 points with 10 minutes left in the game, in a conference game. That cannot happen.
Well, RC, it did. It did happen.
Yeah, listen, that was an ass kicking. You guys remember in Major League, the baseball movie, when they flew back when they were cutting back and they had to fly back on a plane? That's the plane I'd had them fly back on right now. We had you'd be looking out of there, it'd be a propeller plane with damn duct tape on the wings, stuff like that. That's what we'd be flying back in. No, seriously, man, I think the most disappointing thing for how as well as NC State have been playing, they have been defending, and they have been defending at a high level, and it seemed like, all right, it's these type of performances was kind of in the past. It was okay that they got down. I just didn't think they competed enough to try to get back in. It just looked like a team where NC State looked like their identity was on the defensive end of the floor, and they were a team that was defending, and then the threes came after they defended and played well. This team looked like an offensive team that felt like, all right, when we're making shots, we're going to be good, and then we're not defending. Like, that was surprising. Like, I don't, I know Wade won't. I'll be interested to see his press conference after this one and what he really feels. I would really love to be at their practice, see how that practice is going to be. Last time they did this, I think I had that next game, and Abel had a black eye. So it's going to be the practice is going to get real tricky in Raleigh over the next one. So I don't know who they play next. I hadn't looked at their schedule yet, but somebody's going to have hell on their hands coming in there because the Wolfpack, they owe somebody a lick because they got their ass kicked tonight.
It's Wake Forest. Nah, I'm just bullshitting, man. It's not Wake Forest, I don't think.
Miami.
But
don't do that. They played them twice already. Don't do that. It's Memphis with your smart ass. That's what it is. Nah. And you know it. Nah. They'll beat Memphis by 50 too.
Hey, Penny said that they've weathered the storm, man. All right. They've weathered the storm. It's all good in Memphis. All right. There's going to be a storm maybe for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I don't know if you guys have your law degrees out. I think RC, you got yours behind you there from Wake. But that's it. That's it for Charles Bediako.
It's real. Don't cough. Don't cough like my shit.
No, it's real.
Fake.
No, it's definitely real. No,
I walk across the stage now. No. Don't do that.
That was just a coincidence.
Don't do that.
You know what I'm saying? But Charles Bediako's time in Tuscaloosa is over again. The preliminary injunction denied today, and that's going to be the end of it. Played, a few games and obviously helped Alabama win a couple of games, but that's it, Mike, for Charles Bediako. I mean, beyond the circus that all of this has been, and the toothlessness of the NCAA, and the fact that all these things are getting decided in court. How big of a blow is this for Alabama now that Bediako is off the team?
I mean, it's a big blow. I mean, they've been shorthanded. It's a big reason why he was such a big factor when he came in. It wasn't just the fact that they got Bediako back in the program. It's the fact they got a guy at a spot that was crucial for them with the lack of front court depth. So, yeah, I mean, now you just have to kind of shuffle the deck again if you're Nate Oates. And, to me, just a lot of the narrative around Bediako, and I have a lot of respect for Nate Oates, and I think he's one of the best coaches in the game. I just, trying to go apples to apples with the European pros, and that's why this should be allowed. I just didn't agree with that. I just think it's short-sighted on when you look at the ecosystem in Europe compared to this type of situation. Like, this is different than the Najee situation. It's like they aren't all the same situations. So I think, the ruling, it hopefully sets the precedent that if you exhaust your eligibility and forego your eligibility in the NCAA, that's it. And I think that should give clarity to programs across the country. So we'll see what happens with the Amari Bailey situation. I know I saw he was visiting Grand Canyon or about to visit Grand Canyon, but this at least probably shuts that door for the time being.
I think Nate Oates, to your point, Nate Oates did what he needed to do. I don't think he was big on it when it happened, but hell, it was something that, you got to kick over every rock. He's trying to win a national championship, and he saw an opportunity there. I think he genuinely believes that there should be kids should be 18 to 22 years old playing college athletics. I don't believe, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think I remember him saying this to us, that he wasn't a big fan of it. But now that it's there, he's got to kick over every stone to give himself a chance. This leaves a big hole for Alabama. I think this, the thought process of, if we reach the tournament and we're healthy with the roster intact, that we would have a chance of making a run. I just took this situation. They take a major hit, the Bediako situation. So put some more pressure on these guards that he's trying to get them to defend more and initiate the ball on the defensive end a lot better, get into the ball and defend as much responsibility as he gives them on the offensive end. He wants them to be more aggressive on the defensive end of the floor. They won't be able to do that without the depth and the rim protection behind them. So this is a big blow for Alabama. And I don't know if it's one that, where it catches them in the tournament, I don't know, but I don't see them making it to Indianapolis. I think this is a major, major hiccup in them as far as them making it to the Final Four.
Yeah. And fellas, officially, one unbeaten team remaining. We got a final from Allen Fieldhouse. Kansas wins. And we're going to talk about it when we get back. Stick around, Field of 68 after dark. I don't think so.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark, Monday, February 9th edition of the show. We're on YouTube, we're on Sirius, we're on X. Randolph, Childress, Mike LaTulip, John Martin here with you tonight. And we can officially say only Miami, Ohio. I mean, it's you live long enough, you'll see it all. Only Miami, Ohio is undefeated on the season. It's amazing. We're down to them. Kansas, no Darren Peterson. Flu-like symptoms, late scratch. Don't think he was on the availability report. Why do we have availability reports if we're not putting the truth on the availability reports? Kansas does it. Kansas does it against number one Arizona, their first loss of the season, 82-78 final. Lots to get to from this game, RC. But we were talking before we came on, and you were confident. You were confident in Kansas getting this done at home. Now, I don't know if you were – pricing in no Darren Peterson, but
of course he was.
You have to.
Hey,
you have to price in no Darren Peterson.
When you talk to Rob Doster, Rob will tell you. Early today, I told him, I said Kansas will get it done today. Arizona goes down today. I'm just all that stuff y'all talking about. I don't know nothing about all that. I just know I thought that Kansas would get it done, man. You know what's happening? What's happening this weekend on a serious note? Why I say that is because it felt like this weekend. The team that played with more desperation won. And we saw it in the Carolina game. I just thought Carolina had to have the game. If you can argue about officials, all that other stuff, the late calls, whatever. But I thought Carolina played with the level of desperation like we cannot lose this game. And I thought that's what they did. And I thought Kansas felt the same way today. They fought and competed against a big physical-ass Arizona team that has kicked everybody's ass. Physically just dominated the paint, rebounded, and Kansas stood up and fought. And they were the more desperate team. They played harder, and it's just Kansas. It's for Arizona's first loss. Great win. I think it brings this Big 12 championship race a lot closer now. Be interesting to see how who wins the regular season going down the stretch. But credit Bill Self and the Jayhawks, man. I mean, they have battled all year long, and to have a player like that who had been playing 30-plus minutes, talking about Peterson the last couple of games and thinking he's going to play, and then he scratched. These guys stepped up, got it done. Shout out to the Jayhawks.
Yeah, Bill Self now moves to 40-0 on Big Monday. The man has never lost on Big Monday. I mean, that's just quite frankly amazing. I'm a little conflicted, Mike, because I just think if you zoom out, obviously the story is that Darren Peterson didn't play. Again, flu-like symptoms, and maybe he's back for the next one. But and we will talk about that, and we should talk about that. But it's about the other guys, right? It's about Melvin Council Jr., who had 23 tonight. It's about Badunga, who was huge. It's about Bryce. I mean, these guys stepped up without Darren Peterson in a major way tonight.
Yeah, I mean. And we talked about it when we were on break right before we start here, but Kansas almost they did. They kind of beat Arizona at their own game tonight, which is crazy to think about because Kansas throughout the whole season The most offensive rebounds that Kansas has had in a game this season coming in tonight was 13. They had 17 tonight against Arizona. So, like, when your best was required, they put out their best. And I think this is one of the better coaching jobs of the season from Bill Self. And even back in Vegas, I mean, I'll be honest with this Kansas team, back in Vegas when Peterson was out, that group, and I know Peterson in, Peterson out, like it can make things a little bit wonky, but that group has an identity. And they've had an identity throughout the season. Like, that is a tough as shit group. And they were, Bill Self said it at halftime of this one, where he's like, I don't know if we played well, but it was because it was just kind of wild. And that's just, that group just creates chaos. And I think that the pace that Arizona plays with, it just kind of fed that chaos. And I was waiting for Arizona to just win the shot quality battle like they always do over the course of 40 minutes. And give Kansas a lot of credit, man. They hung in tough. Badunga just, I mean, he's been playing like an All-American. He's been that good. I mean, he could be the defensive player of the year nationally. And then now he's adding in what he did tonight, 23 points, 10 rebounds. He got 6 offensive rebounds against one of the best front lines in college basketball. That's an unbelievable win for Kansas. Unbelievable.
Yeah. RC, I think that is the interesting thing about this game is that, Arizona wants to beat you with 2s. They're not going to beat you with 3s. And you're thinking, all right, well, if you're going to beat Arizona, you kind of have to find a way to outgun them a little bit. And that's not at all what Kansas did tonight, man. They just kind of took it to Arizona's chest, which I just did not expect in the slightest.
Well, they have to. That's not their style, right? This team, they're not going to shoot a ton of 3s, and that's not how they play. And definitely not that way without Peterson.
Right.
Again, they were the more desperate team. They just played hard. They rode that crowd. It's not like they're not used to playing with them anyway. So it's just he's been in and out of the lineup all year long. They're not surprised, man. I don't want to make anything up. I just thought too, it was just time. I thought Arizona would just do. Coming in a Big Monday. Big Mondays are always dangerous games because they're quick turnarounds. And so if you're going to lose a game, losing road games on Big Monday is the perfect setup. And is honestly the reason I thought Kansas was going to win, whether Peterson had played or not. Only because I just think it's just it's a quick turnaround, not a ton of prep. You're just going out there and you're just hooping. And like I said, the more desperate team, the team that had to have it, won it. And they played like it.
Yeah.
And they would have more, they accepted the challenge. Just like, hey, those guys, you can't get your ass kicked. But Dunga, you got to play. You can't foul out. They didn't go deep into their bench. They didn't play a ton of guys. Council played 40 minutes. So those guys battled their ass off, man, and they deserved it. It wasn't pretty, but they fought. You expected it because it ain't going to be pretty in a battle like that.
Yeah. Obviously, the story pregame. And you kind of saw this as that number crept up. It went from 2.5 to 3 to 3.5 to, oh shit, what's going on? And then you see the tweets. Darren Peterson is not out for the team's warm-ups. He came out earlier and tried to warm up, and then he did not come out for the second warm-ups and was not listed as a starter. Obviously did not play. And I would just say, like, it's just the optics, right? I think it's the optics, Mike, of this happening right before the game and us not having any indication that he was not going to play, coupled with the fact that this has just kind of been the story with Darren Peterson this year. He's been in and out. And so I think optically is kind of where this went wrong today for Kansas and Darren Peterson. Nothing really more than that, though.
Yeah, I think, and it's low hanging fruit sometimes too, because for Peterson all year, when you have a hamstring injury or like a quad injury, whatever it ended up being earlier in the season, you pretty much walk around fine. So there's the optics of that, where it's this guy that's in street clothes that, just because he's walking around fine, it looks like he could get out there. And then today it's the same thing. It's you got the flu, but then the ESPN's got you on the camera there, and you're just like chatting with the coach at half court, and so the optics obviously aren't great, but I again, like who knows what was said pregame? There's like the screenshot, the text of this and that, like what was said, what wasn't. Should he play? Should he not play? All I know is whether Darren Peterson plays or not in March. Like, I still have really high, even before, I've said it before tonight, like even without Darren Peterson, I have a lot of high hopes for this Kansas team with the identity that they have. And if they rebound like that tonight, without Darren Peterson, that's massive moving forward.
RC, and I think, Trevor, if we could get this up, but Jeff Goodman talked to an NBA general manager tonight about Darren Peterson. And the general manager said the following: I think people are overreacting. I don't know if anyone has enough info yet. It's not that big of a deal to me if he can play the last month of the season. We've got guys in the NBA who missed 2 months with a strained hamstring. A lot of guys who would have shut him down for the rest of the season already. People have to pump the brakes. People get the flu. People also have to remember this is just a small snapshot of his entire career. I think he's still probably the number one pick, but we'll see. Any thoughts on what that GM said to Jeff Goodman?
Yeah, he basically said, I don't give a damn. He's that good. He's worth his problems, and he doesn't have to play another down, another play, and we're going to take him number one. So, like, we've seen enough. We're not worried about it. It's not like his injury is anything, significant. So, we'll never know, right, really what's going on. It may come out at some point in time later this year. There have been a lot of rumors of whether he's going to play, he's not going to play. I think he's answered that. Prior to this, this game of him being illness, his minutes were back up. He was playing 30-plus minutes. The minute restriction was off. Where we see what this Kansas team is capable of without him. I think the more interesting question would be, what would Kansas be if he's there and he's available in 35 minutes or so a game? That team becomes really scary. But, him being in and out of the lineup, I don't think is anything. I'm not, if he plays again, great. If he doesn't, great. It's just been that type of season for him.
I think it speaks to how good he is, too. The fact that it's he's in, out, the narrative. Is he playing? Is he not playing? And, like, everybody is still like, yeah, he's probably the number one pick.
You know what both of those coaches in Louisville and Michael Brown was the same way. Mm-hmm. It's like a guy in and out, he's hurt. But both of those coaches, PK and Kyle, and Bill are like, hey, man, like, you 100%. If not, you come back. If not, they see the talent. They see how good these kids are and what they do to their lineups. Because neither are anywhere near the same without those guys. And you see the reason why is because we've seen these type of performances like Michael tonight and from Peterson in the past. So, it's unfortunate that it happened again. I hope he has not shut it down. I hope it's none of the rumors that we're hearing are true. That it's just he got a bug. Move on, play the next game. I would love to see him capable of playing in the Big 12 tournament and NCAA tournament and just going on a run.
I mean, I know this NBA GM is basically, saying that NBA players are soft or that they don't play. But, I mean, anybody see that Charlotte game tonight? I mean, Moussa Diabate wanted all the smoke. He was going at my guy Jalen Duren, man. That was that was crazy as hell.
I ain't breaking that one up. I ain't breaking that up. I commend them dudes.
Yeah, y'all can have it.
Y'all can have all of that.
Leave that for T.O.
Yeah, that was nuts. Mike,
real quick though. Yeah, I was gonna say real quick on Kansas, because what makes this Kansas team so dangerous to me is naturally when you see Darren Peterson is out of the lineup, most teams, I'm not saying this is what Arizona did tonight, but most teams might exhale. Right. And this Kansas group without Darren Peterson is the last team you want to exhale against. Like that team will sock you in the mouth because they play at a breakneck pace. They get downhill. They're at you. And I think that all starts with Melvin Council. And like when you slide through like your 1 to 5 and like bookend your 1 and 5 with like a guy that is just chaos like Council is in the best way. And then Badunga's kind of the same thing, a little bit more controlled, but the same thing in the post and flying around and blocking shots and coming from the weak side. Like that's what makes this team so dangerous. Is like just when you think you're like, okay, they're missing their star, they have this whole other way that they can play, and almost like a way to sneak up on you in ways that a lot of other teams can't. So I think that was on display tonight for sure.
RC, I think this game was about two things. I think it was about Bill Self and his greatness and his ability to get guys to stay engaged in situations, even when, maybe you don't have your best guy. And then I also think it's about the power of real home court in college basketball. Because, I mean, that you can't convince me that crowd didn't play a part. I mean, they were going nuts the entire night, and they were just they brought the energy. I think they fed off of that. I think we see that in college basketball a lot, but I thought tonight in particular it played a role. I don't know, maybe you don't agree, but I felt like that was a big storyline tonight.
You can't argue it. I mean, that's one of the best venues in all the in the sport. I mean, it's it's not easy to go in there and get a win, even when they're missing their best player and most talented player. But what you're not going to do is beat them up. You can maybe limit them or whatever. And Arizona's been a bully, and it's still a bully. And I mean it in a positive way, in the sense of just controlling the game, how physical they play. And but Kansas had that. Kansas was they played like that. They played like the more desperate team. It's like I was saying it earlier, like St. John did that against UConn. I don't think any one of us think that St. John's better than UConn, but St. John's played like the more desperate team. And today I thought Kansas did the same.
Absolutely.
I don't think any of us think Arizona's better. I just think that Kansas was the more desperate team.
Yep.
Now I feel better about Arizona now than I ever did, because I thought they needed to lose a game or two just to know what that feels like, to get better at it. And so they wouldn't have added pressure from saying, hey, they're going to go undefeated and all that talk. Now that talk's behind us. Now they got a reality check it. They got to hang on, hoping that they can win the Big 12.
Yeah, I think that was kind of where I was going to go next. Is just obviously Kansas. I guess it depends on, are we getting Darren Peterson in the tournament or are we not? I mean, obviously if he's in, that ceiling is much higher. But this Arizona team, RC says he feels better about them now that they have this loss behind them. Mike, are you on that same page as well?
Yeah, I think. And when you look at their outlook to win the Big 12, still, like if you look at the top 5 teams in the Big 12, they're the only team, Arizona is the only team that for the rest of the Big 12 conference slate does not have to go on the road twice against 2 of the top 5 teams in the Big 12. Houston's got to go to Iowa State and Kansas. Kansas has got to go to Arizona and to Iowa State. And I think Iowa State also has one as well. They go to Arizona. So it's really, I mean, it could come down to Iowa State and Arizona at the end of it. But Kansas, I mean, all these teams, Houston, like how can you rule out Houston? It's going to be an insane finish in that league. But yeah, I mean, Arizona, I think you see in this game, and I still came away so impressed with them. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. The narrative around them is like, hey, they bully you, and you get this thought that like they just throw the ball inside and want to play with their back to the basket and wear you down, but like it's the pace they play at. And there aren't many teams in college basketball, and they don't take a ton of threes, which is unique, because most of the teams, the Louisvilles, the William and Marys, like the teams that are at the top of college basketball in pace, they're also really high in 3-point rate. And Arizona isn't that. And they get to their advantages quick. And you even saw that tonight. It's unbelievable how well their bigs play together. And there was a play there in the first half and that I wanted to talk about. It's like Krivas hits Karchenkov on, a nice cut to the basket, great pass, great feed for a layup, but it's all Coapete. Like Bedunga has to fire out from underneath on the low rotation, and then Krivas sees that. Rosario is now the low man who has Karchenkov on the backside, and Pete looks around. Like this is what these bigs do so well. Pete looks around and just goes and finds a body. He just occupies Rosario, and then Karchenkov cuts to the basket. So it's all made by Pete. Passes great, cuts great, but these bigs they play so well together. They know where they need to go with the ball. Like it's far from like this plodding bully team. Like they have so much speed to them and skill to them that you mix that with the size. It's still a team that I think should be the favorite to win it all.
Yeah, I am assuming, I haven't checked BetMGM, but I am assuming that that probably wouldn't have changed. Could be wrong.
If it did, it's Michigan.
Yeah,
right.
But I mean, how much are you really overreacting to a road loss, right, at Kansas? I mean, I think you got to be careful.
Not at all.
You're not overreacting to it, but I think the odds of what Arizona is going to be, we're going to find out the rest of this month, because they're going to have once BYU plays tomorrow, I think they play Baylor in the game. I think they must win. They've dropped 4 in a row, so they're going to come in. They got Arizona has Texas Tech next. That's going to be a really good game, right? Then they got BYU coming to town. Then they go to Houston, which is next. And then they got Baylor, and then they play Kansas again. So, and I think they play Iowa State. So we're going to learn a lot about them in the sense of where they're going to be ranked going into the tournament. I still think they're the goods. I'm not concerned about them at all. I think actually that Houston game, will be for the Big 12 regular season championship.
Yeah, that certainly feels like it, man. This Kansas team, though, it is amazing. I can't say I necessarily understand it, especially given Darren Peterson's unpredictable availability. But like they just find ways, man, and that's a credit to Bill Self and that group. All right, Rick Pitino.
Melvin Jr. is a shooter, baby. He's a shooter. He's been telling us on field of 68 for the whole damn season. He's a shooter.
Hey. We do need to discuss the ticker here. 6 of 25 on the stat line is diabolical.
Get him up, baby. Get him up. No Darren Peterson. Give him them shots. That's what he said. Give me them shots. Darren Peterson, I ain't passing nothing.
He didn't make.
Well, the thing is, that was the quietest 6 of 25 because he just plays the same way the entire game. It's not like. It's always just kind of havoc, and then he got another 3 up, and he got downhill again. Just because even just it's like yes, he missed 19 shots tonight, but the way he can knife a defense, it's like all right, now Badunga's in position because Krivas had to go try to block the shot. Badunga's there for an offensive rebound. I think they got his 19 misses. They probably got 7 of them back.
No doubt.
Back, so
they definitely did. It was Melvin Castle time.
Get him up.
House, I mean, I respect the shut out of it. Let me be clear. I just don't think I would have put 6 to 25 on the Chiron here. But again, we'll take.
He sees NC State. He sees NC State when he's coming into every game now.
John, you just wasn't good enough to get 25 shots off. That's all that is, man. Just say that. Just say I wasn't. Good
I think I could go 3 of
shots.
25. I think I could go 3 of 25.
I don't think you can get 25 shots off in a high major game.
I think. We got to start at my level. We got to start like the American. You know what I'm saying? Before we start talking about Big 12.
We ain't talking
start
about
at that level.
12,
all right.
Big 12.
When we come back, Rick Pitino climbed the ladder all time with a win earlier tonight against his son, of all people. We'll break down that win for Rick Pitino in St. John's when we get back. Field of 68 after dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Welcome back to the 68 After Dark here to Monday, February 9th edition of the show, SiriusXM, YouTube, X, Randolph, Childress, Mike LaTulip, John Martin here with you up until about midnight Eastern, and then we're going to go over to the YouTube for any afters, anything we missed. All right, Rick Pitino is going for win number 904, which would put him third on the list all time, but it wasn't going to be easy just because it was his son, Richard Pitino, on the other side. Took overtime, 87-82 in overtime for St. John's, but it is ultimately a Red Storm win. So, again, this makes him third all-time with 904 wins, RC. I know he wants a lot more than 904. He wants to, get to 935, 940, but had to be special for him tonight against his son getting that third all-time win.
Well, thank God the UConn game was Friday night instead of Saturday, because, man, that would have been one quick turnaround. They looked like they were going to get caught. It looked like they were still recovering from the UConn win. You knew it'd be a game. I mean, you knew it just had to be a game to build up, obviously, of the Patinos, and the game didn't disappoint. I thought it was a really good game, and but you needed, for the sake of what St. John did after winning Friday, they could not give this one back. Mm-hmm. So credit to them for finding a way to win. Ejiofor, guys, is he's just so fun to watch, man. He is so freaking good. Shout out to those guys. They got it done. I just thought it was a game they just couldn't lose. I mean, Xavier is not a very good team.
Yeah, Mike, the St. John's team is. I think RC hit it. It's like you just don't. You don't almost. If you find a way to lose this one, you almost invalidate what you did at UConn. You don't want to do that.
Back. You gave it back. Yeah. You would have gave it back. You needed that UConn win. You were lacking a win like that. You finally got that one on your resume. You could not come in here tonight and give this one away. So luckily they held on, moved this behind them now, and they can get forward to to playing UConn again for the Big East championship.
Yeah, I mean that's an emotional high the other night, a real emotional high. And then to kind of reset, and again, it took overtime tonight, but to reset and come out of this one with a win and not bury yourself too much early or anything, and come out sleepwalking. I think it speaks to the habits they've built over this winning streak. Because like if you're going to string 9-10 wins together in a row, then there is some sort of mettle to you to be able to get from one game to the next. And reset, go on the road, get a good road win, come home, take care of business, go on the road again, take care of business, come back home. Like that takes, that doesn't just happen for teams. Like you have to build that over the course of the season. So, didn't want to get this one back tonight. In Ejiofor, it's just, I mean, how unique are his responsibilities? Just as a big. I mean, we see bigs that play with the ball a little bit, but just the scoring punch, how potent he is on the glass. And then tonight, all the stuff they do with him in the middle third of the floor. He has 5 assists to only 1 turnover. And I think it's impressive because, I mean, this St. John's team is leading the Big East right now in lowest turnover percentage. And a lot of what they do runs through their bigs. I think that's super unique. And so they're a tough cover for a lot of teams, but like RC said, just couldn't give this one back tonight. And I'm sure I saw the record. It's Rick over Richard he's 5-1 now. So that's tough.
Yes. I mean, although, I would definitely make sure to bust my son's ass if I was ever in that situation. I think that's just the paternal obligation, isn't it, RC? I'm gonna bust your ass.
That's when Rick's gonna retire. He's gonna retire when Richard gets a good enough team to beat him. When his team, he's finally got enough talent. He's gonna win the pool to 1 year. Rick's gonna walk in and be like, "That's it. I ain't letting him beat him. He's not going out letting Richard beat him." But no, seriously, it's a game about St. John. I mean, they needed to respawn from this. They would have given it back. I mean, that's what I was looking to see, where you're just gonna get up from UConn, put yourself in position to win, the Big East. And even though UConn is still favorite, they responded tonight. And again, Xavier gave them all they could ask for. But
yeah. All right, let's hit a couple more here before we maybe preview tomorrow's action. Indiana, trying to make their case and trying to get and stay on the right side of the bubble. And RC, I think it's a little bit kind of like, it's not to the degree, but when you beat Wisconsin the way they did over the weekend, you come back, quick turnaround against an Oregon team that's got Biddle back, that's maybe playing a little bit better, obviously pushed Purdue. They handled Oregon tonight pretty handily, RC. And again, you're just trying to get on and stay on the right side of the bubble if you're the Hoosiers here.
It's another one of those games. It's like no different than with Xavier. Oregon's not a very good team, and you can ill afford to lose this game. It would have been brutal for Indiana to drop this one. You got to take care of business. They did. I think they'll find themselves on the right side of the bubble. You got to, that's what you're doing right now. You got to avoid the bad losses, and that's every league. You got to avoid the bad losses for teams at the bottom of your league. You got teams that are in, teams that are not. They're not doing you any favors. They're never going to be easy. But give Indiana credit. They took care of business tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of shit I'm talking about right here. Lamar Wilkerson, 41, 13 of 20. That's a night we can celebrate. That's 3 of 14 with 15 points is insane for Nate Biddle. Like, how is that even? I mean, that's a. I guess
he had 8 rebounds and 6 assists too. I mean, it was just off.
He filled it up. But Mike, this Indiana team, obviously, I mean, I don't want to go crazy with it because again, it was a home game against Oregon. But to the extent that they are figuring some things out, maybe that's happening for them at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've won 5 of 6, and it's not like it's all been against middling and bottom of the league teams. Like in that stretch, you've beaten Purdue, you've beaten UCLA, you've beaten Wisconsin, who I think is a good team, who's kind of like a fringe top 25 team. So I've loved to see just from year to year, like the Mike Woodson regime and how that team played, just the inconsistent effort and toughness. And this team may miss shots. They may I don't question that ever with this team. It starts with Connor Enright, in my opinion, just picking up full court, and he's I think the emotional leader of that team. But Lamar Wilkerson, just it's so rare, and maybe it happens more nowadays. But you look at his numbers at Sam Houston State, and you're like, okay, 20 a game guy. Can he come here and give us 14, 15 a game? Like very rarely do you see a guy come from that level to the Big Ten, and it's like, nope, 20 a game again. Good efficiency again. And part of that to me is system. Like that's system. That's a dude making a decision who had a lot of high-level suitors that wanted to come and play in Darren DeVries' system that is, there's a lot of off-ball action, free up. He's been phenomenal. Like he's played like a first-team All Big Ten type of guy. And whether or not he becomes that, I think is gonna really be predicated on how Indiana finishes off the Big Ten regular season. They sit at 8-6 right now after starting 3-5, and you got 6 days, 7 days now, 6 days to prepare yourself for going to Champaign on Sunday against Illinois.
That's what it sounds like to me. So it sounds like you picking them. It sounds like you picking them to go into Champaign and get the dub. That's what it sounds like to me. Is that what you heard, John? I thought that's what he said.
I'd like to hear what you think, RC. You know where I'm at. I'll probably be at that game.
Yeah, you should be. That's
you go 2 Champaign and 2 Mackey. So you got two really big opportunities. You talk about stamping your case and trying to become an NCAA tournament team. You got 2 big time opportunities here. Really 3 in the next 4 games.
I think they're in.
I think they're in right now.
They win one of those. I think they're clearly in. There's no question about it. I think they're one of them teams that we're talking about. You got to avoid losses like tonight against Oregon, and just you just got your Purdue win. You play them again. That'll be tough, but you go to Champaign. We'll see what happens.
Well, to your point, real quick, RC. Like they're real quick, RC. Their losses in conference so far: Nebraska, Michigan State, Iowa, Michigan, and then on the road in one of those West Coast swing games to USC. Like they don't have. Minnesota would probably be their worst loss in conference, and that was back on December 3rd. Different teams instead.
All right, we're going to hold the previews until the afters, so the previews for Tuesday. But Dagan has asked really quickly here before we go to Toast here for us to hit on the legal impact of Bediako. And again, if you missed it, a Tuscaloosa County judge ruled earlier today that Charles Bediako is no longer eligible to play college basketball for Alabama, denied the request for a preliminary injunction. Alabama was arguing that, this was the only way that he could get his degree. The judge basically said, you're full of shit. He can enroll just like any other student. Like, there's nothing that prevents him from doing that. And so they decided, or this judge decided, no preliminary injunction. So again, RC, is this, is this going to be one of those things where, okay, people stop trying it, or will people continue to try it in search of a favorable local judge?
I have zero confidence that this will set something going forward. When it comes to this eligibility, NCAA eligibility issues with people. Listen. Someone lost. Alabama lost this one. The next one will go win. So I don't start getting down that path. I'd rather see more cases like this. I'm on record for how I feel about it. I don't feel much different than Nate Oaks, even though I know he's disappointed in this. He had a chance to seize an opportunity to get some frontline help. He took advantage of it. It didn't work out. I think this is a detrimental blow long term for potential Final Four team in Alabama. I don't believe that they can make it without him, but I more so hope that we continue this going forward and eliminate all this so it doesn't start from the beginning.
Yeah, I would say, Mike, for Alabama's sake, it was worth it. They beat Texas A&M, they beat Auburn. I'm not saying Bediako was the reason why, but it happened with him on the roster. Yeah,
it helped. And I think just your question is whether or not, it dissuades players enough to be like, I can come back, but it might be for 4 games or 5 games. It might not be worth it. So we'll see, because he had the TRO first, and then, I don't know. Yeah, you know how it goes, man. There'll be another situation. There will be.
Yep.
Whatever it takes to win, my man. Whatever it takes to win. You got.
All right, we got about 45 seconds, RC. Let's do some toast, RC. Kick us off.
Michael Brown, man. I got 45. Come on, man. What are we talking about here?
Freshman ACC record. Absolutely.
That's
Mike?
impressive.
My toast is going to Flory freaking Badunga. Just an absolute animal tonight against one of the best front courts in America.
True that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give it to Bill Self. In a time of such tumult and unpredictability, this man on Big Monday is as sure as it gets. 40-0 over the course of his career.
Jeff Goodman probably
Thanks
crying.
For being
If Jeff Goodman somewhere crying tonight, he'd have had a rough 24 hours.
Yeah, we're going to the afters to continue the crying. Stick with us.
These my DJ Burns things I had for.
That was like taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's gonna die got to be one of the black guys. We're not gonna make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
Welcome back, Field of 6. Well, welcome in, I should say, to the afters here on YouTube. Randolph, Childress, Mike LaTulip, John Martin here with you. All right, Dagan, what do we got? What are we hitting? I guess we're going to Tuesday.
Yes, we're going to go to Tuesday here, fellas. We'll start with Nebraska-Purdue tomorrow night.
Oof.
Big one.
Tough one for Purdue here. Trying to get right. Not exactly the most fun team to try to do that against.
Mass is going to be a tough matchup, I think, for Purdue. Purdue needs to have it. Braden Smith's going to need to be a monster game, and Trey Kaufman, we got to get him going again. We started out the year at one point in time. He's playing like an All-American. He seemed to cool off a little bit. That's a tough matchup. Mass is a big part of. He's healthy and stretching the defense. That's going to be a difficult game for Purdue.
It's the biggest question for me is how they guard Mass, because you saw the way they guarded Tyler Bilodeau at UCLA, and it's all right, we're going to show with Clough and then have to return to Bilodeau, which proved to be difficult, and Bilodeau hits the game-winning shot. And then how do you guard Tommy Avicic with Illinois? And they switched everything, tried to keep everything in front. So now what do you do with Mast? I mean, do you switch because, can Braden hold up if you switch, if they want to throw it in the post, and then do you double? Like, does that kind of put your defense in scramble mode? That's a huge question for me, just how they guard Mast and how in tune they are guarding Sanford. And then the other side, Braden Smith, is this the game that he and TKR kind of get back to their like short roll rhythm? I mean, Nebraska's going to put 2 on the ball. They put themselves in scramble mode willingly. They allow you to shoot threes. If Purdue's going to win this game tomorrow, I think you just think about guys on the backside like Fletcher Lawyer, who, the last 2 games has been solid. 29 against Maryland, 18 in their last game against Oregon. Like, can he be a guy again in Lincoln and knock down 4 or 5 threes? Because he's going to get the opportunity. So this is going to be a springboard for Purdue, because when you look at the schedule here remaining, they're not out of the fight if they can get this one. Michigan comes to their place. Michigan State comes to their place. They still have big time games to play, but a lot of those are at home. So this is a huge one for the Boilers.
All right, what's next, Dagan?
All right, we'll stick with tomorrow while these questions roll in. I believe we have Vanderbilt Auburn. We'll talk about them a little bit.
I think Duke Miles, questionable. They need him. They need him back
this time.
Byington didn't sound hopeful after their Oklahoma game, but I guess he had just started jogging, maybe. But that's a lot to put on Tyler Tanner. That's not only just Duke Miles, but the Frankie Collins. I think the Frankie Collins absence is just kind of mounted, especially for them defensively. Like that's so much responsibility for Tanner when you don't really have another handler to just get him off the ball for a little bit. He played 38 minutes the other night against Oklahoma. Like that's a lot for that dude.
It just totally changes what we thought Vanderbilt and who they are. You can't. Their guards are how they go, and you're just slowly been losing guys. It's just put too much. That's too much responsibility for anybody.
Yeah. All right, Dagan. Anything else? What else?
Yeah, we'll stick with tomorrow. Wisconsin, Illinois. Can the Illini bounce back?
Mike, step up to the plate, man.
Come on, Mike. Talk to me about your Illini, man. They better.
Yeah, I think similar to like what I talked about with St. John's, Illinois has been fantastic the last few months, taking the emotional highs of games like a Purdue, like a Nebraska, and then like the Michigan State game, and then still coming in and playing to your standard with no letdown. Like that was a war on Saturday night in East Lansing. I mean, they got some dudes that are banged up. You got a Wisconsin team that, they've handed Michigan their only loss this year. Boyd gets downhill at U-All game. They shoot a ton of threes. Illinois should own the glass in this game, but you got to keep Boyd in front. You got to keep Blackwell in front and just not allow Wisconsin, I think, to neutralize the glass with their three-point shooting. That's the story, I think, tomorrow night. I think Illinois has got an advantage in the front court, but we've just seen Boyd, how fearless he is, and Blackwell can give you 30 on any given night. So Illinois has got their work cut out for them, but I think they win this one.
Any idea when Boswell comes back? Are you hearing anything?
He's practicing.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's tomorrow night, but could it be this weekend? Could it be before they hit the West Coast swing? I think ideally you want him to get a few games in or a game in before you have Michigan at home on the 27th. So it feels like it's trending that way.
Yeah. That game to me depends on the guard play of Wisconsin. They've got to play really well.
Yeah.
What's next, Dagan?
All right, fellas, some questions from the chat. Stormy Cyclone. Who's currently not in the field that will make the tournament? Or for you guys, basically.
If Texas isn't, I think they'll be in at some point.
We'll count that.
Or
They're in our last 4 in today, so
all right, they're in.
that'll count.
We can't use.
We'll say not safely in. How about that? Not safely in.
All right, who's the first 4 out right now? Do you have that on hand?
I do. It is Miami. Let me just double check this. Miami, New Mexico, San Diego State, Ohio State. Those are our first 4 out. And the next 4 is Virginia Tech, VCU, TCU, Seton Hall.
I think
VCU has a chance to, in the sense of winning a conference. I think that as dominant as St. Louis has been, I think VCU has a chance. If I had to pick another team that could play themselves in, I think it could be Virginia Tech. I think the Hokies got a shot.
I like
Miami.
I like Miami. Only, I like Miami only because they have, their schedule's not easy. I mean, they got Carolina, they got NC State, they got Virginia.
But that works both ways, though. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
One of those,
their schedule isn't a cakewalk, but they got, if you can split Carolina, NC State, Virginia, and Louisville, those are 2 quality wins. You can't get swept in those 4 games. You just can't. You can't go 1-3.
I think Miami. I think Miami is tough. I'm a big Jay Lucas fan, but they just recently lost True Washington. I think that's a brutal loss for them.
It is.
Yeah. I think that's brutal, and they have 0 production from their bench. Their starting 5 was as good as anybody, and that was including when True was there. Now Dante's in the lineup now. I don't think they get a ton of production from their bench. They can ill afford foul trouble. He's having to coach that way, and I don't know if you can beat those teams. I don't know if they can control the pace enough to beat those teams with a lack of depth. So I got that's my concern with Miami. If they can somehow stay out of foul trouble, he's doing all he can, zone, everything else. I just think scoring becomes a problem with them after a while. If Renew is not on this game, it puts so much pressure on Renew and Trey Donaldson to play at an elite level against that schedule. I think is the main concern that I have with Miami. I think Miami's best chance of getting in is trying to win 1 and not losing to Florida State or losing to BC.
Yeah. And then honestly, too, it's you look at what you don't want when you're trying to solidify yourself as an NCAA tournament team. What you don't want is to be searching in mid-February for your marquee win, which is really where Miami's at right now. And that's you want to try to almost do your work early, get something in non-conference, but looking at their schedule, I mean, what is their marquee win? I mean, truly, I'm looking at.
That's why I'm saying it's more about Miami not losing to BC, not losing to Florida again, and then can they win one of those games? And I think that's enough. Their schedule is going to be more about they got enough quality quad 1 wins coming up. Losing quad 1 wins don't hurt you. It's the other one. It's the bottom feeds. They got to take care of business against those games and then try to find a way to win 1, and then they can play themselves in. But they're leaking oil right now. I mean, they're coming across the finish line limping, trying to figure out how to navigate practice and everything else to get there. Man, that's a that True Washington with Marcus Allen's those guards being gone from their rotation is really big, and it hurts Miami a lot.
All right, what's next, Dagan?
All right, next in the chat, user wants to know, do you think the Big 12 or the Big 10 has a better chance of getting 2 number 1 seeds? So for reference, both leagues have a 1 seed right now, and they're splitting the 2 line. So two seeds per league.
I got to go with Big 12. I don't know how Arizona doesn't have 1 and Houston. I don't know how Houston won't have 1. So I don't care what else happens. I don't know how Big 12 won't have 2.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Iowa State at 21-2 right now as well. They're not out of there. It's how many teams are in the 1 seed picture? Iowa State's in the 1 seed picture. They have 3. They have 3 in the picture. And then I think for the Big 10, Michigan for sure.
Outside of Michigan, I don't see anybody else being the number 1 seed outside of Michigan. I don't know how you can consider anyone else.
The problem is that if it's going to be anybody to be the second Big 10 team, it would be Illinois. But the problem is Illinois has already lost to UConn. So in the committee's eyes, I don't think they'd be able to jump them. If they won at Michigan State on Saturday, that I think, you're sitting at 21-3, like that becomes a real conversation. But I think most of those Big Ten teams end up on the 2-3 line. I think Michigan probably holds there on the 1, but Big 12.
Yeah,
Big 12 has just more bites. They have more bites at the apple.
I don't think Michigan has to win the Big 12 to get a number 1 seed. I think everyone else does.
Yeah.
Everyone else has to win the Big Ten tournament.
Yep.
Right.
For sure.
Dagan?
All right, gentlemen. A few fun ones here to end from Trevor, as always, providing us with some fun questions. If you guys could pick any conference tournament to have a front row seat to, which one would you choose? I want to make you pick 2. One power conference tournament and a mid-major conference tournament.
Big 12 this year for me would be one, and I would say SoCon.
I'll be different. I'll say the Big Ten, just because I think the 1 through 6 in that league, the way that they're jumbled up and like the 2-3 seed line, like who slides to a 4 to avoid the 1s. That would be.
I tossed you the lob anyway. You was going Big 12. You was going Big 10 anyway. What are we talking about?
I actually Big 12. I was leaning Big 12, but I'll be different and go Big 10. But I'll say this. I'm gonna say the MAC. Because if Miami gets down to it, and let's say they drop one in conference play, they're on a collision course with Akron in the MAC, and Akron could very well also have one loss in conference play. So what's going to end up happening is if Miami gets the 1 seed, it's going to be a bloodbath in the 2-3 game in the semi with Akron and Kent State. And does that help Miami kind of push them over the top? Is the MAC a too big league? Is it a too big league? That's what I'm asking. If Miami loses,
it shouldn't be.
If Miami loses once in conference play and once in the conference tournament, and Akron wins it, does Miami get in at whatever it would be 32-2?
Yeah, they'll get in, but I would be just as happy
under that
if they
scenario.
didn't.
It's a too big league.
But I just feel like this conversation, and it's unfortunate because I'm sure the coach is
It's
a good
fair
guy.
though. That's a fair statement.
No, it's just like beat somebody that's not in Division III. That's if you schedule
what would
4 Division II teams.
What would Matt McCall say? Winning's hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Winning's hard.
I feel like you should be disqualified from an at-large if you schedule 4 Division II teams. Is that a fair 4?
Well, here's the problem. Like, I think the fact that they have been ranked, like, I just think in the committee's eyes, if they lose 2 games and they had 6 weeks of being ranked, I think that's just like, I don't know.
No, they're going to be in. They're going to be in.
Yeah, I think they're in.
I think they're in. They're in.
Well,
they're in, and they're going to be 16-point underdogs in the first round, and they're going to get their shit pushed in. And you know what? It's going to be a waste of the spot.
They've earned the check to do that. That's fine.
Here's the thing. I called their game a few weeks ago against Toledo, and I'll say this, man. Like, if the wrong team
you don't want to play them
against them, I don't want to
play them.
They shoot every dude they put on the floor.
Yes,
shoots 40% from 3, and
they're another team that we talked about. One of them big teams. That's a team that you're going to play, and if you don't have bigs that can guard on the perimeter, that ain't the team you want to play. You don't have mobile bigs that can defend in space. That ain't the team you want to play. So I know we're joking about it. They deserve an at-large bid, and they'll get it. And if someone else wins the league, so if I'm the rest of the league, I'm happy. If they can somehow lose, and we can get in, because somebody else can get can steal a bid. That's league is definitely a potential bid stealer.
I just don't mind being the heel on this network when it comes to Miami, Ohio. They're 8 spots ahead of Memphis at KenPom, the worst Memphis team in literal decades. They're undefeated, and they're 8 spots better at KenPom. this team is going to get destroyed in the tournament. They're going to
All
get
right, well,
destroyed.
that's going to lead me to my next question here, John.
That's okay. And I knew you were going to have a chance to put Memphis in it, but so what? Nobody like Mike here. We ain't talking about Memphis.
I'm just saying, man.
Sure won't be in
Memphis
the tournament.
is
No one's talking about
They're 8
Memphis.
spots better.
Nobody
They're
talking
8
about
spots
that, man.
better than Memphis at KenPom. That's it.
I don't care.
Like, and it's
Throw
just
your
been a
Ken Palm
complete
numbers out,
unmitigated
man. They going to
disaster
the
here.
tournament.
Play
Well,
the
that'll
game.
lead me to my next question here, John.
All right, what's the next question?
So today in our bracket reveal, we have Miami of Ohio playing against Kentucky. What would be your hypothetical line in that game?
23.5. I mean, that's probably what it would be, right? I mean, Kentucky's what? They're 31 at KenPom, so they're 60 spots or 50 spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be,
Miami's
18.
Miami's not metrics. They're not metrics darlings. They send 5 guys back in transition. They don't focus on offensive rebounding. Like, they're not metrics darlings. What I will say is they are good enough. Let's say this. They are good enough to create game pressure on a bigger, better team.
How do we know?
Tournament.
How do we know? Because they haven't actually played one.
We're going to find
What
out in
do
the
you mean?
tournament. That's what the tournament's for. That's why
They
we're going
haven't
to find
played a
out in
real
March
team
Madness.
all year, Mike. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Stop doing that, Mike.
When it
Stop
happens.
doing
They
that.
haven't.
What are your habits? They have
All
good
they've
habits.
done is they've beat everybody's in front. All of listen, nobody's saying they're going to Indianapolis. We're not saying that. They're the last undefeated team. Give them their props for being that. Matter of fact, they should have been out toast for the night for remaining that. That's still difficult to do. You got to play your league. They're going to get in. They're going to get in, provided a late collapse. And if they do that, then from the Power 4 conferences, you're upset because that's a league. You hope they win the league, because if not, it's going to cost someone an NCAA tournament bid.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Indianapolis. Are they even going to get to Dayton? Because if I had my way, their ass wouldn't even be in Dayton.
Come on,
But
man.
again, I got to be the heel. I got to be the heel on the network. Oh yeah, exactly. That's right. I forgot the NIT's in the same spot. They go to Indianapolis for the NIT. That they can cut down the nets there. But anyway, I'll have to continue my. They're undefeated. They are the last team remaining. So that can never be taken away. Yeah, that's
Top
basically
25.
the championship for them. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight here on the Field of 68 After Dark for Randolph, Childress, for Mike LaTulip. I'm John Martin. Have a great night. Keep it right here on Field of 68 After Dark.